Hi everyone, Jeremy here from Flatware Creations. Today we are going to be making a sloth. So I had somebody ask if I could make them a sloth. They sent me a picture and I couldn't really do it the way that the picture was, so I came up with my own kind of design. I took and I cut it out with a spoon, and let me get all this back in here. Still has some fine tuning. This was my second attempt. My first attempt. You go in the bucket? Yep. So this was my first attempt. Let me get this chain in here. Okay, so this was my first attempt. So this was my first attempt. So I was trying to make it to where the necklace would slide through, but I didn't give myself enough room, and I ended up using the thick part of the spoon for the head when I should have been using the thin side. So number one, and that brings us to number two. It actually kind of looks like a sloth. So, and he slides along. So after thinking about it some more, I was wondering if I could use a fork. So this is a big serving fork. Sloth is about the same size. So I'm going to flatten this real quick. I have a new setup on the camera that I'm trying out. I kind of makeshifted a gimbal kind of thing so I can get the angles turned a little bit better so you guys can see. I hope it works. If it works, I will be going to somewhere and getting an actual swivel gimbal thing that I can rig up. All right, so let's go. That's so much better. Get my wax on here. So I'm going to hammer this because there's still a little indentation here. I'll flip it over. By using the hollowed out piece from all the hammering, see how flat it is now? That's what I want. We are going to have to make a little bit of adjustment because these legs are straight and they are flat. So we're not really bending them a whole lot. We can bend them over to go around the necklace, but we can't really bend them or cut them out in different shapes. So what I need to figure out is actually what I know that I do need is I need this much of the fork tine to be able to wrap around. It's better. Okay, so this part here is going to roll over, and that makes this piece here our sloth. I am going to be cutting out the head out of a piece of copper. Whenever I get to that point, I'll measure it out and see how thick it is. I think we're still going to have to take some of this. The shape of a sloth, it kind of doesn't have a butt. Some of them I've seen have a tail. I'm going to make my center line right there. So if I do that, I'm just going to trace this guy. Let's put his head further down. So it's going to look like this arm is further up. We still don't want this to be huge, but we do want to use most of the fork. And if I have his head down here, now his arm or his leg can curl around. I love these pens, but sometimes they just don't like to draw. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to get up. So I have the body made, and now his legs will be in proportion. So this one here should be fine for length. This one should be okay for length. I think this one I want to bring down. I'm going to cut this guy down. And this guy here, I'm going to cut down too. And then his little face is going to go right in here. With the copper, it's really going to make that pop out. So this is version number 3. I have another fork here. That's the same size. So if I mess up something, that leg's going to be solid there. This one's going to kind of look funny. But I don't need to go so far as to be all the way up here with this leg. So here's what I was using for tools. I'm using my pliers here. There's also this size H crochet needle is what I used to wrap the legs around, and the necklace slid right through here nice and easy. So that was a size H knitting needle or crochet needle. So if I have them like this, it's going to look like he's hanging down further, which I really like. But I need to get this piece here cut. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put a line right here. Come on. And let's cut off these legs. We have cut off the legs off our fork tine, or our serving fork. And I've just rounded them off in the belt sander. So now I'm going to clean them up. This could potentially be a finished piece, so I'm going to make it like a finished piece, kind of memorizing as I go. And let's get back to work. So what I did was I just took my drum sander and I just cleaned up all these edges. So I'm going to take and get the ink off of here. So one of these goes this way, this one goes this way, that one goes that way, this one goes that way. I'd like to keep the handle on here as long as possible. But I know this needs to be my point, so where did my needle here go? I'm going to use some flat nose pliers. Going to go about halfway from my line. And I'm just going to try and take this over if I can. This one here will go the same way. And it's wanting to bend really close to that. The biggest thing I found out with this other version is I need to have these tips curled around really well. I really want those to close. So whatever I've got to do to get those tips really rounded over. So I'm going to do the same thing here, about halfway. I'm going to lift up. And I'm going to tilt this very little end. See how it's getting at just a little bit more of a tighter bend. This guy here. Okay, and here's the other part. These need to be offset now. So this one goes this way. This one goes this way. I use my small pliers for that, and I'm just using leverage. I'm not squeezing. Now we have a hole through here. Let's get this guy through here. I'm just going to do some light tapping to get things in place first. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just looking at where it's hitting, and I'm going to rotate this around. There we go. So now it's snug. But we need to get these tips rounded. So here's what I did yesterday. I put it in my vise. What we have to have here is we have to have these pieces closed so that the chain can slide through. So I think we need to go down a little bit more with these. Those were cut the same length. Oh, but we have the body down here now. Yeah, we're gonna have to cut down through here a little bit. I always forget where I put my saw. I have this magnet on it, and I've been hanging it up on my fan because it's metal. So I'm gonna say, I really like the size of this, so I really want to keep that size. So I'm gonna take this down to come on. I'm gonna bring it down to about this level here. So we'll see if this height will get us going. Get out a grinding bit here that fits in there. I'm just going to make this rounded out in here. All right, so now we have some more room to be able to go down further. So next time we won't bend them like we just did whenever we twisted them halfway. So I'm going to take this down. Let's try and just flatten them out again. Actually, I might be able to just, there we go. I'm just going to take and bend them down here at the line. Okay, so we have them pretty much down to our new line. So I'm going to try and curl this over. Okay, so we're almost there. So we have them in a row again. Get this guy in there. Nope, I want to go flat side. Got a piece in there. Now, I'm pretty much just gonna hammer these down straight. So what it's doing is as I'm hitting it down, it's automatically curling and straightening itself to where we need it to be. And this is a brass, a brass handle. You could probably use this one, leave less marks, but I'm not too worried about marks right now. So what I'm trying to do now is get it to all go down to where these start hitting. So what's happening now is I have some of these that are up too high. I want to make sure those are curled around before we don't have time to do that anymore. So what I'm looking at now is trying to get them to look even. And you can see our tips are almost touching on both sides. So let's see if we can knock this guy out of here. So what I did was I grabbed the flat part with my pliers and I used that to twist to pull this out. here's what we have now. So I'm going to close these now. You want to make sure that you're not flattening them out. Okay. I like that. So that did take a bit of work. I have another version where we can solder fork signs onto the piece, but I wanted to try this first. This also make a great hinge. I mean, that's not going to fit in there anymore, but let's see. So you wanted to make a cabinet hinge. And just screw this onto a door. Now you got yourself a hinge. Oh, that's tubing. Ooh, I thought it was solid rock. That's a bonus. Okay. So we definitely have some tool marks and things on here, but I am going to texture this, so that could be okay. And these guys, I didn't put my claws in. I'll see if I can do them later. So right now, let's try and get our sloth drawn on here. So I'm looking at right now is how the sloth is going to sit here. Now remember, we have that arm to think about. So these definitely don't work that way. Its butt basically lines up with the back leg. So we're there. We were going to put this head down lower, but I need to find a balance, because we can cut out part of this. So I'm thinking if I can cut out something like that. All right. We'll cut some more. So what I don't get perfectly around here, we'll just fix in the either with a file or with my belt sander. There's the handle gun. So as I was cutting, I was thinking about it. I think I'm going to take this guy in half. Kind of match up with the foot a little bit. So I'm going to call it about this angle. Now we know how big to make the necklace, or not necklace, the head. Speaking of necklace, let's see if this works. All right. It's looking like a sloth. Works good on the necklace. Wrong way. All right. So now we need to make a face. And from all of the pictures that I've seen, they have kind of the flattened kind of foreheads. And then some long eyes. So here's what I was looking for. So I want to make that face right to there. So we'll use that for reference. Man, I keep forgetting to move the camera. So I used the oil that was on my fingers to make a rubbing of the size of this. So what I can do here is look at my so his face is a white color. Kind of comes around like this. So he's got a big nose, mouth, real big eyes. But I think that's gonna leave too much here. So let's just use this. And I'm gonna make his forehead right here. We're gonna bring his chin down here. Still think it looks a little small. I do spot though, so we're gonna keep this spot here. make this really over exaggerated. Give him some really good eyes here. Nice big nose. Actually, we can go further down on the nose. We're bringing the nose down here. And then we can make his little smile right here. Looks pretty good. I think proportions it's good. Alright, now to take this and put it on here. .96, 0.86, 82, 86, so 86 millimeters. I don't know if it's 18 gauge or how many, whatever. Sorry, I haven't gotten that far yet. So we use that as the top. We want it about that's our edge. Height. It's about the right size. So we're going to cut it there. And just on the outside, so I have enough room to be able to sand some down. You know, it would be kind of cool. So this is going to be silver behind it. What if we made his eyes, if we drilled them out and cut them out so you'd see the silver behind it? That might give it a cool effect. All right, let's draw eyes on this guy and we'll drill it out. So before I cut this whole thing out and not able to hold it, I'm going to cut the eyes out. one. So it's one of those times where you can measure, but if you're going to be able to get away with something being unique, this is where it's going to come from. Because once you measure it, then it becomes a, I don't want to say calibrated, but it becomes planned. Okay, so I'll clean the rest of that up with the Dremel. Grab a small diamond point. Go with this little guy. So I'm just using this little guy here. Just want to make sure the front looks good. Okay. Let's get it cut out. So now we'll go back to this little guy. I kind of like that shape. All right, so I'm going to punch a big hole for nose, like I generally do. It's a serious nose. I do have to grind down the back now though. All right, now we need to get that mouth in there. I think it's gonna look pretty cool. So made a good smile. There we go. It looks cool. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, let's try this. So I'm heating it from the bottom, trying to get it flatten out for me. Should be about ready to drop. I don't see any solder yet. Oh, there we go, I just saw solder. You ready? Cute. And I got my solder line to go pretty much all the way around. Definitely enough it's not coming off. All right, one last step. I wonder if I can take the drill, not drill, but the blade, my diamond blade here, kind of do it like the feathers. We'll give it a go. So I think it is time for some LOS. I don't want to get into the eyes. I want those to stay nice and shiny. So I'd like for this to all turn a nice dark shade of brown. And I'm going to clean up the face anyways, so I'm not worried about it getting on the copper. Here's a little trick I learned. Sometimes you can take and heat these up to get them to change color. So let's see what we can do. Got to make sure I don't get it hot enough to melt that solder. We did get a little color. Oh, where'd you go? .800 grit. And I just want to touch the face. Just trying to get all the bumps and most of the imperfections out of the face. Just want it to look really clean. So I think I'm gonna call it there. Looks like something got in that one eye there. He's so cute. He's too cute. Yep. So let's stamp this guy. And then I'm going to toss him in the tumbler. And because he's an animal, he gets a birth month. There we go. Next one's definitely gonna be bigger. And let's give him a birth month. 122. Let's come up here. All right, so there is that. Now it's just time to get my mess cleaned up. Toss these guys in the tumbler. I made a dog and a little cat before, and I made a sloth. Cool is that little guy. I think there will be some things that I do beforehand, like the texturing. I think I'll do that beforehand. I love how the face came out. Once it goes through the tumbler and everything, we'll really see what color it is, and we'll come back, and I'm excited to see how this comes out of the tumbler. If you're new to our channel, please hit subscribe. Also, click the bell and select all so you get all of our updated videos as soon as they come out.